All right, what's up? Jason back here with another video. This is the second video in the series of my 40-pound fitness transformation. This one's going to focus on the diet aspect. So if you did not watch that previous video where I break down my workout journey over the last couple years of essentially losing 40 pounds and significantly decreasing my body fat, significantly increasing my lean muscle mass, I talk about the different the workout program kind of journey that I went through. This video is going to focus all on the nutrition, the dieting that I did during this whole journey, which, as I mentioned in the last video, I feel is probably a huge influence. I think we all know that. I think we all know that diet nutrition plays a huge part in our ability to be in good shape. Okay, regardless of what programs we're following. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let me share my screen and get into it now. All right, so as I mentioned, I did mention this a little bit in my last video. In this image here, again, beginning of September 2020-ish is kind of when this journey kicked off. I was vegan slash vegetarian at that time. I was primarily vegetarian. I just wanted to kind of note that prior to that, a couple years, I think probably 2018, 2019, I was practicing a vegetarian, started off vegan, then I just wasn't hitting the check boxes to officially be a vegan. So I just pretty much said I'm a vegetarian. But in this image, I'm a vegetarian. And again, I'm starting this journey. Again, you can follow the last video to know that at this point, COVID hit, and I'm going to start documenting my journey to get back in shape, and ultimately found CrossFit. So if I jump to June 2022, you can see here this image. I'm still vegetarian. I've been doing CrossFit now for about a year and a half-ish. As you can see, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm still kind of puffy. I don't really look like I've been doing CrossFit for a year. I was pretty out of shape. However, a big thing that I wasn't doing is, as mentioned in the last video, is I had no idea how many calories I was eating. One of the big things I feel on why my body stayed as soft looking as it was throughout the beginning part of this journey was simply because, not necessarily because I was vegetarian, because I was getting proteins. I was eating fruits, vegetables, proteins, tofu, beans, vegan protein powders, but I was eating a lot of processed stuff. But I don't blame any of that. What I blame, my puffiness and not really looking like I'm getting into shape anytime soon, was me not having any idea how many calories I was taking in. I wasn't tracking my calories. I wasn't tracking my macros. I think I was paying attention to try to get like 130 some odd gram. I think I read online, like, all right, do 0.85 to 1 gram of protein per bite. So I was probably doing something like that. And I know I was getting maybe 120 to 130 grams of protein, maybe, which looking back, that probably wasn't enough. Or maybe it was, I don't know. In the end, I wasn't tracking everything. So that's where I feel that why a lot of my transformation did not happen until later into this journey. I was getting physically fit in terms of my cardio and my conditioning. That's the best way to say it through the CrossFit. I know I was improving, but I definitely wasn't improving in my strength or anything like that, because again, I wasn't tracking any of that either, as I mentioned in the last video. But at this point, I'm still vegetarian. There's nothing crazy going on. Really, the only supplements I'm taking is a vegan protein powder. I'm potentially taking a multivitamin at this time, and I'm trying to remember, multivitamin and like a reds and greens kind of powder. Again, for micronutrients and whatnot. So beyond that, I don't know how my nutrient profile was looking. I was eating a lot of processed stuff. I was using a meal delivery service that was a vegan meal delivery service, like Factor, or there's a million of these, Trifecta. There's a million of these like meal delivery type services. I can't remember which one I was using, but it was vegan meals. To be honest, there was some healthy stuff, and then there was stuff that just had a lot of processed junk, like vegan buffalo chicken, right? And mac and cheese. Like, obviously, for that stuff to be made vegan, right? There's no such thing as vegan chicken, right? So, that was a big processed bunch of stuff. Occasionally there were some dishes that were just like pure tofu or beans was the primary protein. The bottom line is my dieting, it wasn't horrible. Another big thing that was going on here is because I was not aware of how many calories I was taking in, I have a strong feeling of just once I started tracking calories of thinking back, I don't think I was eating enough calories, right? There's the whole thing of eating too many calories and you look like crap. Well, there's a whole other thing. If you're not eating enough, your body starts holding on, like it holds on to every single calorie. And that's why I feel during my CrossFit, I was doing 4 to 5 CrossFit workouts every single week. I was regular at it. Like I did not miss days in terms of the days I was working out. I didn't go every single day, but I went Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday consistently throughout this whole CrossFit journey of about 2 years of doing it. I was pretty consistent there. And that's, again, I think tracking the calories would have led me to believe, and monitoring calories would have led me to say, all right, let me try to increase my calorie intake because I'm probably not eating enough. And then I can almost guarantee that my body would have transformed much faster. Right. And so with that, that brings me to, let's go to January 2023. And as you can see, I'm a little bit more improved because at the end of June, for the last half of 2022, the changes I did make is I went omnivore, started incorporating meat back into my diet that I haven't actually taken in multiple years at this point. So I just decided, because I wasn't satisfied with the meal delivery type services and I just wasn't really satisfied with what I was eating. So I said, all right, let me try to ingest meat back in. For one, I wanted to see how my body would take it, having been on a break for so long, and see what that response is. And I feel that response was positive. I went to more pure whole food type, which is another big thing. I could have went whole food, vegetarian or vegan. It just didn't. I'm just telling you my journey, right? I probably could have eaten just whole food, vegan and vegetarian foods, and again, tracked it and been fine. No doubt in my mind, it just wasn't for me. So I went omnivore, started taking in. I basically was eating. I'll do a video on my supplement stack, and I'll do a video on a day in the life of eating, because I pretty much eat the same stuff over and over again. But we're talking whole food, like steak, potatoes, broccoli, carrots, like that's it. No fillers, no sauces, no, just that. Occasionally put some butter on that stuff, raw butter typically, or grass-fed butter. And like, that's it. Like I wasn't eating processed stuff. I cooked my own meals. I started cooking my own meals. I still cook my own meals, and everything's just pure up the food itself, pretty much whole food stuff versus any kind of processed box prepared stuff or anything like that. So omnivore, the other big change that I made was tracking calories and macros. Used MyFitnessPal app for that. MyFitnessPal. There's several, probably millions other apps out there. I know MyFitnessPal is one of the more popular ones. There's a free version. I think I pay for the paid version because I get down into like little things that I'm playing with now, but you don't need that. In the end, I realized I actually wasn't eating enough. I wasn't eating enough calories because I went back into the day in the life of, let me look back of, document what a day would have been of me eating this other stuff, during this CrossFit for this time. And I realized I was eating way too little calories. I was like eating sub 1,500 calories per day. And that's just not enough, especially when you're working, especially when you're mind build and you're doing CrossFit 4 to 5 times a week. What I was eating was essentially starving myself. So my body was starving itself, wasn't able to use any of the, like it was holding on to everything. Once I shifted to omnivore, but more importantly, started tracking calories and macros, as you can see, just from June 2022 to where we are here at January 2023, that's already in half a year, right? And actually, it wasn't right at June where I made this choice. It was actually like October-ish. So we're looking at like a 3-month difference from that body type to body type versus, again, if we look at 2020 to June 2022, like there's barely any difference. But as you can see, by making this one change here, I 2 changes, right? I started eating omnivore, but the main thing is I was tracking calories and macros. Already a huge difference. To get into my macros just really quick on this, typically 40 to 50%. So at this time, and what I still do, is carbs, 25 to 30% protein, calories coming from protein, and then 25 to 30% coming from fats. What I did to figure out what I was doing, what my calories were, I did body weight times 15 gives you maintenance calories. And then what I did is I decided to go into a minus 400 calorie deficit. Okay. So you're seeing the beginnings of that from the June 2022 to January 2023. And then this is what I stuck with from January 2023 till we get to March 2023, where I lean down to 146 and I'm sub 10% body fat. Okay. Everything is exactly what I was doing here. Omnivore, tracking calories, 400 calorie deficit. So essentially, as we see from January to March, again, about 3 months, the dramatic transformation just by doing this one important thing of just kind of understanding how many calories I'm supposed to be getting and actually getting the correct amount of calories along with the macros to facilitate change in my body. And I had more energy as this transformation was happening, more energy, more strength. Now, again, I talked about my workout transformations, or workout journey in that last video, but it's being fueled by the nutrition, the diet, the nutrition that I'm doing here. And then again, once this March 2023, once this cut ended, I kind of went to maintenance for a little bit. And then kind of midsummer, I decided to go start a lean bulk that I really didn't, I kind of stuck around maintenance for a while, but it wasn't until late summer, July, August, that I started to do a 200 calorie surplus. And that's what brings us to now. As you can see here, I'm just way more, about 155, and I'm at a plus 200 calorie surplus. Sorry, I'm actually at a 300 now, because now I'm committing to this lean bulk to really kind of beef up my weight to try to get close to 170 over the next couple months. So bottom line is here, talk about, the workout transformation. I'm focused on calisthenics now. That is kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of happy with that. I like the way calisthenics, I just like the skill, working on the skills. It's kind of challenging. It's kind of nice. It's kind of takes me outside of just normal weightlifting. It allows me to compete with myself a bit. And my strength is continuously improving. So now what I'm doing is I'm around 155. My goal is to get to 165 to 170 over the next about 4 months. And then I'm going to go into a cut again. So my goal is to get around 170. I'm at a 300 calorie deficit because technically I've been at about a 200 calorie deficit since midsummer. And my weight, ended up getting around 155. My weight's just been sitting at, I've been at 155 for like the last 4 to 8 weeks. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I want to commit to actually legit putting on some weight and some strength. So the goal is to get to 165, 170 all the way through February. So it's November now. We're about to end November. So December. So about 3 more months of this lean bulk. I'm hoping to get closer to 165, 170. And then I will do a cut. I'll go into another deficit at that point. And I already feel like, you can tell by the photo here, I feel I'm just nearly as ripped as I was at 146. I'm just more dense. And so I know if I'm able to get the lean bulk going without putting on terribly too much fat, then, and more importantly, increase my strength, that when I do go into the cut, again, that I would be cutting down to maybe 160-ish, 155 to 160-ish, somewhere in there, and be leaner, but more strong and more dense than I was at the 146 cut. So, and that's the plan. And then after that, I'm just going to hang out in maintenance probably for a good while, and I'll figure it out from there. But this is the diet journey, and the what I still do for macros is still here. How I do the tracking is still pretty much body weight times 15. And so basically once this cut was over, I did body weight times, so it was 146 times 15, and then started my surplus. So wherever I ended the phase that's the new body weight that I then now multiply times 15 to do whatever I'm trying to do. So I did plus 200. It took me around 155, and then I kind of went to maintenance for a little bit, various times during the summer. I did some traveling, I did some random things. So I wasn't trying to cut or bulk. Went back then to a 200, probably about 8 weeks ago, went to a 200 calorie surplus, and I've just been hovering around 155. I can't, it's like my body's metabolism is eating it up. So now I'm bumping that up to 300, and I'll just kind of monitor and see. I kind of I do weigh myself weekly, and I will keep an eye on the calories to help facilitate this lean bulk all the way up to through February. So anyway, this is the macros. That's how I calculate calories. My diet is pretty much omnivore. So like I said, what I'll do is I'll do a separate video talking about supplements I take, and then I'll have another video talking about a day in the life of eating. Pretty much one of the biggest things around diet is, again, just understanding how many. At this point, I probably don't need to track anymore, but because I'm playing around with bulking and cutting, and I'm trying to get precise on it, I'm paying attention to it still. I still track everything on MyFitnessPal. For me, it's very easy. At this point, everything's already saved, so I'm just adding them really quick because, as I said, I eat the same stuff pretty much over and over and over again, and that is another huge thing. Besides tracking, get used to just being consistent, eating the same stuff. Like like for me, like I pretty much eat steak or cheeseburgers every single night. Like it's pretty damn good. Or chicken quesadillas, right? I eat the same things over and over and over again. I never get bored because I love them. It tastes so good. And my sides pretty much never change. It's usually potatoes, broccoli, carrots, and avocado. I kind of mash up an avocado into like a little homemade guac. Pretty much every single night I'm eating that same stuff. You'll see when I do the video, I'll talk about my daily eating habits, but I just stay consistent, which makes it easy for me. And so I don't have to track. I can literally just make the same stuff over and over and over again. I already know where the calories are going to fall, and you'll get used to that as well if you decide to do something like this. Anyway, I hope this video is insightful. Interested to hear in the comments what you guys do and what's been your favorite dieting. I hate using the word diet because it just makes it sound like, oh, this extra thing you have to do. But in the end, it's just your eating habits. So I'm interested to hear what your eating habits are, what's worked for you. Any questions, for sure, drop them. I'll be happy to answer them. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'll hit you with a supplement and a day in the life of eating video in the future. All right. So with that, I'll see you guys in another video. Cheers.